In this video, I am going to show you how to solve a system using the substitution method. So the problem says the perimeter of a rectangle is 90 feet. The length is 5 feet less than 4 times the width. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. If you do not have a picture of a rectangle, you're going to want to draw it. The thing about drawing it is that you are reminded to find perimeter by adding up all the sides. And when you think about it, you know this length and this length are the same, and so this is the same as that, which would make sense to have a formula that looks like this, 2L plus 2W. So I want you to stop the video at this point, use the first sentence to write one of your equations for your system, and use your second sentence to write the other equation. So here's what mine looks like. I set the 2L plus 2W from the perimeter formula equal to the perimeter from my first sentence. And then the second sentence says the length is. So length is the same thing as saying L equals 5 feet less than 4 times the width. When you see this phrase less than, you want to flip these two things around. I call it a turnaround phrase. You want the 4 times the width in front and the 5 feet behind the minus sign. So you would write 4W minus 5. So this is actually a great problem for the substitution method because you have one of your variables by itself already. So you want to box in what that variable is equal to. This way I know exactly that I'm taking all of that information and I'm going to go replace the L with 4W minus 5 in the first equation. So I want you to stop the video, go do that real quick, put the 4W minus 5 in parentheses and write the rest of the equation down, distribute the 2, and then see what you get when you solve for W. So this is what it should look like. You're replacing L with 4W minus 5. Like I said, put it in parentheses. That reminds you that you need to distribute or multiply that 2 times both of the terms. 2 times 4W is 8W. 2 times minus 5 is a minus 10 or negative 10. Bring everything else down. So now it's time to combine your like terms. 8W plus 2W is 10W. Bring everything down. Move the 10 over to the other side by doing the opposite. So opposite of a minus 10 is a plus 10. So add 10 to 90, you get a 100. And 100 divided by 10 is 10. So I like the fact that this is now boxed in because I know I need to go put this 10 in for that W. So stop the video for a moment, go plug in 10 and see what you get for your lengths. So here's what I got. When I went and plugged in the 10 for the W, I got 4 times 10 is 40. 40 minus 5 is 35. So your final answer would be the dimensions are 35 by 10. Or you can flip it around and say 10 by 35. Let's look at another problem. In this problem, this is the same problem that I've done in 2 other videos. So if you've watched those first, you know that this is that same problem I keep going back to. And the reason for that is I want you to see that you can do the same problem in a lot of different ways and still get the same answer. But if we want to use substitution method on this particular problem, you want to solve for one of your variables. You want one of your variables by itself. So that's why I've already rewritten this problem. I think this one's the easier of the 2. I want you to stop the video, take this equation, and solve for y. So you moved the 3x to the other side or subtracted 3x from both sides. You got a negative 3x minus 6. And then divide by 2 to solve for y. And this is what you end up with. So just like on the other problem, you want to box that in and show that you're going to go to the other equation for that variable and plug it in. So stop the video, go plug that in, use parentheses, and solve for x. So like I said earlier, this is not a great problem for the substitution method because one of the variables was not already solved for. And now that we have solved for it, it's really kind of an ugly answer, but that's okay. You can still do it. It ends up looking like this when you first get it all plugged in. When you distribute, you get a plus 6x plus 12. So all of this becomes this. Bring down all your other things that are in the equation above and combine like terms. So 8x plus 6x is 14x. Bring everything else down. Subtract 12 from both sides. So negative 16 minus 12 is negative 28. And then divide negative 28 by 14 and get negative 2. So again, I like that this is boxed in. I know now to go take that negative 2 and plug it in for that x. So I would like you to stop the video and go solve that real quick. When you go plug in that negative 2 for the x, you get negative 3 halves times negative 2, which is a 3. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. So just like in the other two videos, when I solved this equation, I got this same answer of negative 2, 0.